most relationships start because people look past the red flags.
Ooh. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay. Let's jump into that. Most relationships starts because people look past the red flags.
Yes.
Usually, you think when a relationship would start with somebody saying, "You know what? I see the good. Yeah, that's all I see. So I'm gonna keep moving forward." But most of them start seeing the red flags and moving past it and ignoring it.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. And I say this with love. It's especially true with women. Women see
Hold up. Wait a
everything.
minute. Hold up. You just gonna jump on us real quick,
Listen,
and you ain't waste no time.
I'm just being real. Women don't miss the flags. Women just ignore them. They rationalize past them. You know, they try to believe other than what they see, but they still see it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of people dismiss what they're seeing because they want to move. They want to be with this person. They want to have someone in their life, whatever the case may be.
Let me be transparent. I was one. I think all of the ladies in here and some men too as well have been a part of that group to where we see a red flag or we feel something that is not right, but we keep moving forward because it's one of those things. It's like, okay, no one is perfect, right? So
Yeah.
how do we go through this whole thing of, okay, no one is perfect. We see these red flags, but I want to give them a chance because again, nobody is perfect.
So we got to understand the difference between an issue that can be corrected and an issue that's going to be the downfall of the relationship. So it's like, yo, if for example we talk to each other and you speak to me with an attitude, right? That's a red flag at first. But if I address it and you fix how you speak to me, we good. We can move forward. But if I address you and you still talk to me disrespectfully, right? Then clearly this shows either you are not healthy enough to be in a relationship or you are not the right person for me. There is no chance to be given at that point. Because if I give you a chance, all you're going to do is keep disrespecting me. You ain't going to get no better because I let you slide. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about addressing it and can it be correct or not, as well as can it be something that you can deal with long term? And when I say long term, I mean like for years. Because a lot of people think, okay, yeah, it's not a big deal right now, but that same thing annoys you months later, years later, and it's the exact same red flag you ignored in the beginning that brought down your relationship years later.
Oh my goodness, like you are preaching right now, because I think a lot of time, especially as women, since you jumped on us, right? We always want to see the good in people, right? And you hear no one is perfect. No one is going to be right. And if they show you something, everybody can change. How many times have we heard that? So what do you tell the women who say, okay, what if they started off this way, but they can change? And I want to get to know this person. What do you tell a woman that's like that?
Okay, then be his platonic friend. You can handle that. Okay. Don't play yourself and say I'm gonna be his friend, knowing damn well you're gonna act like his girlfriend. If you can genuinely be a platonic friend, then okay. And in that process of friendship, that's his opportunity to change and get himself together before y'all move into a relationship. But if he never changes, then what the hell are you doing? The thing is, if you get with someone in a relationship before they've changed, waiting for it to change, there's a good chance that you've taken away the incentive to change, or one of the incentives. So it's almost like if your job said, yo, you need to get a degree, you need to get your master's degree to work here, but I'm going to hire you now in the meantime and let you get it eventually. Okay. If you don't like what it takes to get your master's, you may never get it because you already have the job in your hand. What's the incentive now? What's the incentive to stay up at night studying and taking these tests you don't like? There is none. And people have to understand that change for most individuals is hard. It can be scary depending on what they have to deal with. So if they already have the luxury of you there, you having sex with them, you feeding them, hell, some of y'all paying their bills, you're doing all this stuff. What is the incentive to now face my demons and make my correct? There are people who won't change even when there is an incentive. But you took the incentive away and you think they're going to still change? You made it harder. You made it less likely.
So how does one go through trying to date, right? And as you said, be somebody's friend first, right? But what if you are so sexually attracted to them and there's chemistry there and you kind of fit, here we go again with these feelings, and you kind of feel as if there is something there that you can, like, you know what? I don't want to just throw them in the friend zone, but I know I need to get to know this person.
So my thing is this: you can be friends without putting them in the friend zone by letting them know. Like, we got to learn how to be straightforward. Like, all right, listen.
Ooh, that's tough, Stephan. Now that's tough now, because you know a lot of people like to put on.
Okay, so you rather put on and set yourself up for disaster, or be real and deal with the discomfort of being real? It's one or the other, because you're gonna pay a price somewhere. So my thing is, if we tell somebody, yo, I'm feeling you, but right now I feel like we're not at a place where we can have a relationship. I want to get to know you. So just so you know, there is interest, but I can only give you friendship for right now. And if they're like, nah, I can't deal with that, all right, then go to your corner and handle your business. And when you feel like you're ready, or when you meet the requirements for us to get together, we can have another conversation. Until then, it's either friendship or nothing.
Now, in this friendship, right, what happens if they have sex? Is the relationship, is it done? Is it like, you know what, see, you didn't cross the line, so now we got a problem? Or help us out, because a lot of us need this help. Ladies, if you're in the comments, let me know if I'm speaking. So
it's not done. Like, you can still recover from having, if y'all had sex, but you got to be, again, you got to be honest with yourself. You can't keep having sex with them if the goal is to get into something serious and things are not there right now. You know what I'm saying? Again, you can't keep rewarding them for bad behavior is what you're essentially doing. So you've got to, okay, we slip, we're human beings, it happens. We got to catch ourselves and say, all right, we can't keep doing this until this is corrected. We don't engage in that anymore. And whatever boundaries that need to be set to ensure that we don't fall down that trap again, we got to set those boundaries. Even if that means cutting each other off for a period of time.
Now you know.
I'm just telling you what it is.
It's so crazy because you okay, so we hear this, right? And it's so easier said than done. Have you found yourself, because I know you give the advice all the time, have you found yourself in these situations to where you had to remove yourself, say, you know what, I'm not at that place right now, so I'm gonna be honest with her, but she's so fine and I don't want nobody else to talk to her, so I'm gonna just go ahead, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing and work on myself while I'm doing it?
I don't pass up on a lot of action, all right?
What?
so I'm cool. Listen, I'm fully aware of the downfall of these situations. You know what I'm saying? I deal with it with other people's lives all the time. So yes, trust and believe I've had to pull back, knowing I like this person, but we're not there, or we might not be for each other. But I know if we keep kicking it like this, what's gonna happen? So yeah, I gotta sacrifice, because I know there's a bigger price to pay later if we keep going down this road. You know what I'm saying? So I have to pull back.
Now, what if it ends up being really good though? Don't you ever have those thoughts like, dang, she fine. Our chemistry is great, right? Our sex is great. I know we're not at that place to where we want to fully commit to each other, but I love the time that we spend together. And I know it sounds selfish, but I mean, I can work on me while I work on her, and then we kind of work on us.
Nah, because here's the thing.
Like, like maybe we can,
Don't get me wrong. There's a situation that comes to mind where it was really good and everything was clicking or whatever. But again, because I operate from a spiritual perspective as well, it's not even just about will they change. Okay. If I pray about it and God's like, she's not the one, then she's not the one. Ain't nothing to change. Ain't nothing to hope to come later. So now it's just a matter of, do I entertain someone continuously that I know isn't the one for me and I'm not for them? Or do I do what's right? Now, listen, again, we're not perfect. We might slip up. We might have sex a couple more times. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, I understand this can only go so far before it gets really messy. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I want to do is hurt anybody, lead anyone on, get anyone caught up if I can't be that man that they need at the end of the day. So for me, I feel like I have a responsibility to just, pull back when those situations come about.
And the only way I feel like you can really honestly do that, and I joke a lot about it, but the only way you can really do, like, really go through that and really do it is through being spiritual and through the work and the help of God, because it's so hard. So we talk about these all the time, and we say, okay, we can do it. And then we find ourselves in these situations. So how do we kind of know, like, check out what a red flag is? Like, how do we see that red flag and address it?
Again, we don't even have to try to see no red flag. When you see something you don't like, and we always see things we don't like, that's it. Anything that bothers you, annoys you, you know what I'm saying, makes you offended or causes you to be offended, you need to address it. And sometimes a red flag is a misunderstanding. It may not have even been a red flag. You may have just, you thought it was this, it was something else. And that's why talking about it can clear things up. So I think one of the things that people have to stop doing is, red flags are not, you see it, you run. I think that's a huge mistake. You see it, you address it. And if it cannot be corrected, then you walk away.
Oh, that's so good. Because I swear, it's one of those things, you hear red flags, and you automatically like, oh, time to go, I'm out. But as you said, what I'm getting from this conversation, that communication is so key. So with that being said, why is it so hard for humans to communicate with each other about how they truly feel, and when they see those red flags, or if something offended them, or if it's something they want?
There's so many reasons. Where do I start? One, the fear of rejection. People are afraid to express their needs and desires because they don't want to hear no. And they rather just drag things along and hope it gets better than to have to hear a no straight out to their face. Some people are not confident about expressing themselves and how to properly address certain things. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to open up. Some people may be afraid of the backlash. There are individuals who, and this can happen a lot of times with men. There are men who try to bring something to a woman's attention, and she kind of went down his neck, and he was like, all right, now he's hesitant to say things up to her again. So now, and I'm not saying it's right and it's okay, but this is what happens to a lot of dudes. They shut down because the woman couldn't handle them being honest and forthcoming. You know what I'm saying? Then there's the fear of losing them, because the reality is that deep inside, a lot of times that this isn't a correctable red flag. And by addressing it, it will bring it to the surface even more, to where you can't ignore it anymore. And once you can't ignor it, you're going to have to let them go. And because you don't want to let them go,
you don't want to address it
at all.
Oh, that's that pain. I feel like I've been in that situation before. Like, you know what? I'm going to just bite the bullet. I'm going to just be quiet. I'm not going to say nothing, because if I say something, I already know how this is going to go. But I just love how we be hanging out. I just love, we be, Ooh, that is so good. So what I want to do, if you guys in the comment section, if you guys have questions, there is a question box. So I'm going to be going to the question box, and later on, I will bring someone up. You can give us your scenario. We'll tell you if it's a red flag or not. Well, matter of fact, Stephan will tell you if it's a red flag or not, because I am not the expert. I'll be over here messing up my doggone self. So we're going to jump to these questions in the questions box, because I feel like a lot of people have situations, or they have, different things that they want to navigate through. So one of the first questions is from, let's see, BG Girl Forever. She says, how do you deal with a boyfriend who ghosts you? How is he even a boyfriend ghosting you? Okay, I'm gonna let you deal with that, Stephan. What?
I was
a boyfriend ghosting you, girl?
Yeah. So you deal with it by, again, addressing the issue. Now, let me throw this out there. And again, sometimes certain points are especially for one gender versus the other. So especially for the women, when you address the issue, don't attack him. Don't come with an attitude. Be calm, be loving, you know what I'm saying? And just talk about it. Be open to, go ahead.
Hold on. I'm sorry. just look, my woman right out when I was like, wait a minute. How am I gonna be calm and loving to a boyfriend who ghosts me?
Number one, because you don't know what's actually going on. So you got to come in with the mentality of, I don't know what the actual reason is. See, the reason why we come in with an attitude is because we've already thought of all these scenarios of why they're doing this. Oh, he must be with some other chick. Oh, he must be.
You know, we thought of every possible scenario. Yeah.
Exactly. But for all you know, someone recently died and he didn't tell you. And that man's been hurt. For all you know, he lost his job and hasn't been able to face you and tell you. Like, you don't know what's actually happening. And I'm not saying it's going to be a good reason. I'm saying if you come into the conversation open-minded at the possibilities and the fact that it could be a reasonable explanation, it'll be easier for you to be calm when you speak to him. And the reason why it's important to understand that is because if you come in with an attitude or attacking him, he's going to get defensive. That's human nature. Anytime someone feels attacked, they're going to defend themselves. There's been times, even when you knew you were wrong, somebody came at you sideways and you still defended yourself like you ain't nothing wrong. You can't help it. That's just how we are as people. So if you want a productive conversation, if you want to focus on progress, not pride. Pride says come in with an attitude. Don't let him play you, blah, 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 blah. Progress says I'm trying to get to the root of the issue. And to do that, I have to come in with the most effective approach, which is calm and loving. And so now you come with that calm, loving approach. You say, yo, like, let's talk about this. What's up with the ghosting? I don't like this. How are we going to handle this moving forward? If y'all can't come to an agreement of him no longer ghosting you, or what the new protocol would be if he needs space or whatever the case may be. Like, all right, maybe he needed some space, but he has to be able to tell you, hey, baby, listen, I'm going to be shutting my phone off for a few hours or whatever the case may be. Whatever y'all can agree upon, then cool, y'all good. If y'all can't come to an agreement, end the relationship. There's no point in continuing.
I'm just trying to figure out at what point do we just completely end it? Because for one, I think that ghosting is disrespectful. Because as we talked about earlier, communicating, right? Communication is so important, and we all go through stuff. And I feel like at some point, if you're going through something, you have to be, as an adult, as common courtesy, say, hey, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z. I can't talk to you for whatever. Or just say, hey, I'm not going to be available, or whatever the case may be. Because to ghost somebody, I think is immature, it's disrespectful, and you really disregarded my feelings. So now I'm just going to cut it off at the root.
So here's the thing. Everything
how you my boyfriend and you ghosted me.
You're right. You're right. But here's the thing. And it just dawned on me while you were talking. I think the reason why I see things differently is because I've dealt with thousands of people. I've heard thousands of stories. I've seen thousands of different dynamics of how people grew up, what environments they come from. So I understand fully that common sense ain't always so common. And you may think an adult should know this is how we communicate. If that man or woman grew up in a household where their method of handling things was to shut down, they may genuinely not understand how shutting down is a problem. They may actually think, but yo, like this is how they've been living their life the whole time. They're not doing it to disrespect you. They're doing it because they don't know how to handle their own feelings. And
so is it my job? Is it my job to teach them then, or to be understanding?
Well, it's not about teaching them to a certain extent. Listen, in a relationship, we will always be teaching each other how we want to be loved, how we want to be communicated to. So there's always a level of teaching. So the key to me is, are they willing to learn? Are they willing to make corrections? In most failed relationships, you have one or two individuals who, even when you address them, they don't want to correct the damn thing. Get them out the way. There's nothing you can do with them. Yeah. But there are some people who are more than willing to fix the issue if they simply knew what the issue was. So you lose nothing by having a conversation.
Yeah.
You lose nothing by addressing the issue. And if anything, if they're not for you, it'll become even more clear by having that conversation than it would have been by you just walking away.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Look, that's going to be a lot for some of us to digest, because we feel like, you know, once we feel that disrespect, it's like, you know what? I ain't got to deal with this. So let's see.
I'm going to give you a quick story. And again,
yes.
This is why I learned this. I remember one time when I was in college, was supposed to go on a date with this girl. And we're supposed to go to the movies or whatever. And I have a huge pet peeve. Don't stand me up. Like, you can cancel all day, but if you stand me up, you will see another side of me.
It's
all right? It's over. It's a wrap. So she stood me up, right? And I called and I left a nasty ass message on her.
No, you didn't. No, hold up. I can't even see you doing that.
Listen, college Stephan wasn't a man of God yet, all right? College Stephan.
You're a changed man now. Thank God for change and growth.
But she hit me up 2 days later, and I can hear it in her voice. Her grandfather had died that morning. And there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. And that's when it hit me like, yo, you never know. You never know what someone's actually going through, what the deal is. Again, I'm not saying there aren't people who lie. I'm not saying that every situation is a reasonable explanation. I'm simply saying you never know. So at least allow yourself the opportunity to find out what they have to say for themselves. And then you make your next move.
And see, that comes from a spiritual place, because what I'm hearing, the word, oh God, oh, come on, Glory, come on down and give me the words to say. What I'm hearing from you is grace, giving a person grace, right? Because like you said, you never know what a person is going through. And while we're trying to, like, you know what, the disrespect, for every action, there's a reaction. And for every, every time somebody's going through something got to be going on. There's a cause and effect to everything. So I keep hearing the word grace.
Yes.
That you just got to give them grace. But boy, you ghost me. Ain't no grace. You're going to have to ask God for that grace, because, boy, I think it's just so disrespectful. When I first got with you, you called and blew my phone up all the time. So now.
Look at it like this. I believe that the first time they do it, there should be grace. Because the first time can be a misunderstanding. If it becomes a continued habit, that's when it's no more grace. That's when you cut them off. Because now I don't like this. We talked about this and you keep doing it. All right. End the story. We done.
I like you. Okay. So you get one grace pass. So we're gonna let the Lord handle the first one. The second time, I'm taking matters into my own hand. Okay, let's go to the next question. Let's see here. She says, I'm dating a guy that always lashes out and starts an argument when I express how I feel about things. Is this a red flag?
Hell yeah.
Look, girl.
Hell yeah, it's a red flag. Now listen, so here's the thing. And this is just to piggyback off the point I made earlier, how everyone doesn't see things the same way. So there's tons of people who heard that question and all thought, hell yeah, that's a red flag. But there's some people, again, if they grew up in certain environments, they may not understand how that lashing out and arguing is a red flag. But yes, it definitely is a red flag. You can't, if he's not willing to communicate, because as I said earlier, we got to address them calmly and they got to learn how to talk to us calmly too. It goes both ways. If he can't allow for a civil adult conversation, that relationship is not going to last. So absolutely a red flag. It needs to be addressed. And if it's not corrected, let his ass go.
Thank you for making it so plain. What do you think in 2020, because we were in a pandemic, right? So let me get rid of that one. We were in this whole pandemic for seemed like all of 2020. And then we're still in somewhat of a pandemic, right? What do you think the biggest red flag you've seen in dating, these dating woes and all the different people that you've talked to and you've helped? What is the biggest red flag you think you've seen?
All right. I don't know if this is the biggest, but this is the one that popped in my head first.
Okay.
Entitlement.
Ooh.
Entitlement is the red flag right now to me. And that's for men and women. You got dudes out there that really feel entitled and think they're supposed to get this, that, and the other when they're not even showing up to the game the way they're supposed to. And you got women coming out here thinking they're entitled to this, that, and the other. And so the entitlement leads to a lack of respect and a lack of appreciation from what people are doing and what people are willing to pour into them in that relationship. So that would be my biggest red flag.
Ooh, entitlement. That is so crazy that you say that, because once they start liking you, it's like, oh, this is supposed to happen because I'm this, or you're mine, or this and that and the other, because I want it.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to give it to me.
Yeah.
See, that pandemic, boy, I tell you, it did something to a lot of people. Did you see, as you know, in your expertise, your line of just trying to coach people through life and through relationships, did you see a lot of relationships being broken or coming together during quarantine?
I want to say I've seen a lot of relationships being exposed, because exposed doesn't mean they left each other. There's a lot of people that it was clear to see they don't belong together. And for some, it may have shown that they really are right for each other. But whether that person actually broke up or not, that's a whole different story. Because again, as we said in the very beginning, people see red flags and ignore them. So that relationship is getting exposed, but for various reasons, they don't want to let go. But the pandemic definitely exposed a lot of relationships.
Ooh. Well, see, it couldn't expose none I had going on because I was over here single, you know. Let me see here. Next question. All right. So I know this may be a question for a lot of ladies, because a lot of ladies go through the same thing, because I just started dating. There's only one guy I really like. Should I continue going on more dates?
All right. She just thought there's only one guy she really likes. So, okay, now I'm gonna answer this in two ways. I'm gonna answer this the non-spiritual way and then the spiritual way.
And then give us the raw way.
All right. So the non-spiritual way is, I mean, you single, date more people. You can be out there. It's all about, can you handle it? If you can handle seeing multiple people and properly evaluating them and not getting caught up in no mess, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But if you know you don't have that kind of attention span, if you know you don't have that kind of time and energy, then stick to your one person. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the spiritual side.
Uh-oh, here we go. Hallelujah.
Here's the thing. God don't need months to tell us if someone is for us or not. So we gotta stop.
Say that.
I'm gonna say it again. God don't need months to tell us if someone is for us or not. We have this bad habit of not wanting to consult with God about a personal relationship till months or years in. And by that time, you're so damn attached, you won't know how to walk away even if God tells you no. So you've got to learn to ask as soon as possible. And again, no matter how much you like this dude, if you go into prayer and God tells you he ain't it, then he ain't it. There's going to be a lot of people we like, they still ain't for us. There's going to be a lot of people that like us, they ain't for us. It is what it is. So we got to learn, get them in, get them out. Now, if God says this is the person for you, all right, then the next question is, all right, how do you want me to handle this, God? What's the next step here? And we go from there. But we got to stop wasting time. It's that wasting time that's making things really bad in the dating world.
Ooh, I feel the conviction coming on. Can somebody bring the collection plate? Deacon Stephan is speaking, praise God. He speaks, Stephan. Yeah, that's his name. Stephan speaks. Amen. Listen, okay, so a lot of people, for the spiritual ones, and you know, my dad is a bishop, so I was raised around it. It's in me, and I honestly believe, I believe in being spiritual. I believe in God. How do one hear God's voice, right? Because especially when you're dating, and it seems as if you've been dating for so long, or let me say this, you've been in a place of wanting to date, but it's just not, you're meeting different guys and it's not working, or you feel as if you met this one guy, like she said, and you kind of just want to you need answers. But for whatever reason, you're praying, You're reading your word, but you're not hearing from God. So how do one get in tune with that and hear from God to say, hey, my child, that's not the one. Keep moving. He got 8 kids. Keep moving. He gonna cheat on you. Keep moving. He don't pay his tithes. Keep moving. Like, how does one hear from God when it comes to dating and trying to navigate through that through dating?
All right. So let me say this. I believe that every child of God can already hear God. But the analogy that I use is like, if there's God's house, you can't hear him because you're out far in the yard. Hell, you're out in the street. All right. And even though God's calling to you, his voice sounds real faint. So you're not sure. And the way that this world is set up is to detach us from God. It's to detach us from spirit. So even if you don't believe in a certain God, I believe that the vast majority of people on this world believe in a level of spirituality and an inner spirit or inner voice that we all possess. All right. And so for me, of course, we're going to say praying, right? And we're going to say asking God the question, not Lord, show me the way, not Lord, just make it happen. No, God, is this person for me? Yes or no? But if we're going to go deeper, turn the damn TV off, turn the radio off, get off social media for a few days, change what you're eating for a few days, or even more so, go on a fast. Because the reality is that all these things, and I'm not demonizing these things, but I am saying that all these things are distractions. TV, the food that we put in our body, the music, the social media. And so what happens is you're hearing God, but again, it's hard to hear him clearly amongst all the noise. You got to remove the noise. Hell, don't talk to this one, that one for a couple of days. Just focus on talking to God and asking God what it is you need to do. And just trust what you hear within. Because again, a lot of times we hear an answer, but we don't like the answer.
Oh, come on now.
What we want it to be. So now we start saying, nah, that ain't God. Nah, I'm tripping. Nah, I can't be that. Nah, you know very well.
You know that was God.
In your spirit. And again, I don't care if you call it Holy Spirit, third eye, whatever you want to call it.
Senses.
Like your gut instinct, there is an inner voice that knows truth. And because from a spiritual perspective, it is because God gave us a spirit of truth. It knows all the answers. We just have to learn how to listen to it. And I'm going to add this too. This is, again, especially true with women. Women's intuition is on point. The problem is women ignore their intuition all the time. And I always say, listen, if your intuition can hit you one day and tell you something, that means it's there so that you can tap into it when you need it.
Yes.
We have to learn how to tap into the intuition rather than waiting for things to randomly hit us.
That's that discernment. So one of the prayers that I pray is God, give me the discernment to make the right decisions, to know what's for me and what's not for me. And if it's not for me, learn to let it go before it hurts me. So that's so good. That is so good. Let me go to another one. We're gonna take 2 more. Let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is gonna be tough, but I'm gonna let you handle this one. All right. Is it healthy for my 10-year relationship only having sex once every 2 years? Pack it up. It's time to go. Ain't no way. Pack it up. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Baby, do I get a pass to go to the playground? What's going on? What we doing? You mean to tell me we've been together for 10 years and you want to? Okay. I'm going to let you have that one, Stephan.
10 years, only having sex once every 2 years. That is not healthy at all.
How are you alive?
There are a lot of red flags there. You know, I'm curious as to who's setting the timeline. Is it him or her that's making them wait 2 years? Like, what's really going on here? But either way, whoever's in charge of this, it speaks to a deeper issue. That romantic relationships have a lot to do with sex. So when you're not having sex regularly, again, I have to question what's really going on here. There's some other issues not being addressed.
So when you say regular, what is regularly?
Now, regularly is going to be objective. It's going to be depending on the couples. For some people, that might be 3 times a week, 2 times a week. There might be some couples who are genuinely happy with 1 time a week. I think that, listen, it's hard to put a specific amount on what it should be because everyone has different tastes. But I think most people would agree 2 years is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Hell, if it was several months, I think most would agree it's a problem.
Baby, if it's 2 weeks, we got a whole problem. 2 weeks? What you mean? Matter of fact, 2 days. What you mean? We married.
And that's the thing. It's one thing if like we just had a 2-3 week run where we didn't do it, but that's not the
because we're busy and we're working.
Yeah, but if it's consistently long gaps, then yeah, from all my years of doing this, I've never seen people go long without sex without there being other deeper issues they were ignoring. Ooh. That's what I can tell you.
So that means it has to be a deeper rooted issue.
Yeah, I mean, I got a few coming to mind, but Lord, I don't know.
Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Listen, you deserve a man who loves you, respects you, and cherishes you. Do not settle for less. So please understand, if he does any of the things I'm going to mention in this video, it is time to let him go.